the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's the Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create actual amazing relationships. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. You jump in. We'll talk about your life and your money. John has a new book coming out in just a couple of weeks from tomorrow. It comes out on October the 3rd. This recording, as you're hearing it right now, is September the 18th. And today is the last day that you can pre-order and get the ebook early. If you order today, you'll get the ebook for free tomorrow. That's pretty cool, John.
I didn't even know that. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. Nearly half the U.S. population reports that their lives are affected by anxiety, stress, or burnout. The book is Building a Non-Anxious Life, and he walks you through the 6 daily choices to recognize and break free from a life spinning out of control. The book is already a huge success, and it's not even out yet. The sales are huge because there's a problem out there that's huge.
That's right. It's an absolute mess out there. It was good this past weekend to connect with a live audience, and man, they're feeling it.
Yeah.
Just real regular moms and dads and brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles are feeling it out there. And so, yeah, it's a mess.
At the SMART conference this last weekend, John did the talk, Smoke, Fire, and Freedom, which has a lot of the content of the book in it, or some of the content of the book in it. And, that audience was sitting on the edge of their seats, followed by a standing ovation. So it's absolutely, it's touching a nerve to say, yes, anxiety is real. Yes, there's a lot of things real in the mental health space. The statistics of death and despair are huge, and yet there's hope.
And this book is a roadmap, and I think that's missing a lot. Most of the solutions are come pay us a whole bunch of money, and we're going to try a bunch of stuff over the next 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 months, and this is a pretty consistent roadmap. It's been around for a long time. I didn't invent any of this stuff. This is as ancient as time, but it also incorporates the latest neuroscience, which of course that's just going to confirm what we've known for generations and generations. But it's a roadmap. It's a roadmap to completely doing life differently.
Yeah, the 6 choices that you can make daily to really prepare your life for when anxiety comes, not if it comes, then you can handle it, and it's not so debilitating, because anxiety is not a disease.
Right. Think of it this way: we've all agreed that we're gonna brush our teeth twice a day, so that if there comes a moment when we have really bad breath, we probably have a tooth infection, we need to go get it checked out. But we're just decided not to have bad breath every day. Anxiety can be in burnout and this just stress, this way we've chosen to construct our lives. Man, if you work on this stuff every day over time, it really straightens your life out. And then you know when something sideways comes, when you're about to get fired, when you lose your job, when your spouse is cheating on you, it sounds the alarms appropriately so, and then you can have a plan to go forward there. Yeah,
and what's weird is this. 45 years ago, I was in class in college, and the professor was talking about the advent of computers and how they were going to change our lives and change business. And we were taking computer classes with card readers. We had to type out the little cards, thing. I mean, that's how antiquated it was, right? But the professor said something that has stuck with me ever since. I don't even remember the guy's name, but I remember the statement. He said, more information is not necessarily going to be better.
Man, and how relevant is that? How many people do we meet that, and you and I are in a position where people ask us, how many cups of coffee have you had with somebody? About 40. Just make the decision, right?
Yeah.
Or how many times, how long have I spent on the computer researching workout programs?
But I have more data.
I could have just gone to work out.
But I still don't do anything with it.
It's not helping. Yes.
I've got more data. I've got more connection in my hand that's not real, because Facebook friends aren't real friends.
Right.
I've got more connection in my hand with this little magic wand I carry around than anybody in history, and yet we're the most disconnected. So more connection doesn't equal more connection.
That's
so strange.
More communication doesn't equal more connection, right?
There we go.
So I can communicate with everybody all day long. But, man, I need to be in a room with people.
But it's low-quality communication.
That's right.
I mean, the lowest possible quality communication would be a text.
And we've heard that. We've heard the statistic.
Next would be a voice, and the best quality communication is in person because you get tone, body language, eye movement. You get everything then, and you can go, oh, she's lying.
Well, and we all know that 70 to 90% of communication is nonverbal, but we took out all the nonverbal stuff, and which leaves us with,
A 16-year-old that only knows how to do a breakup on a text.
Dave, I had a graduate student come in one day crying and shaking and handed me his phone, and he had just been served like, you're getting papers today. He got divorced via text.
Oh my God!
And get this, my response is, "Are you going to talk to her? What are you doing? Like, why are you here?" And the response was, "Well, we've got a Zoom call set up for Friday," and I said,
I think I know why you're getting a divorce.
I 100% know the problem. I said,
I think I know why you're getting a divorce.
If this was me, I would have been on a plane first thing
on a jet plane
this morning.
Oh my gosh! And then sitting at your kitchen table going, "What in the devil?"
But I can look at that kid and say he's weak, or I can also look at that kid and say, "Oh,
no, society has told him a lie.
He didn't have any skills. Yeah,
he didn't have any lie.
That's
he told him a lie that this is okay.
This is the way we do this.
This is the way to have a friend as a Facebook friend. This is the way to do a breakup is on the text. This is the thing. So all these things create anxiety. Is my point.
Correct.
And so building a non-anxious life does not mean you live in a cave and you don't embrace any technology ever. That is not what it means. But what it does mean is that you control technology instead of it controlling you.
Correct.
It's one of the items.
That's exactly right. And you be intentional, as weird as it is and as hard as it is, you be intentional about having friends and making connections. You be intentional about taking care of your one precious body, the only thing you got. Most of us treat our cars better than we treat our bodies. So there's several things we can do on a regular basis that over time, man, puts the fires out in our living room, and then the smoke detector doesn't have to keep ringing off the wall.
Yeah. When those brake pads wear out, they tear up the rotor.
Yeah, they do.
Because they did the metal on metal. Yeah, I did that.
I've done that too.
A lot because I was too broke to replace the brake pads. So then you get to spend 8 times more replacing the rotor too. Oh my God. Oh yeah, I do remember those days. So building a non-anxious life. If you pre-order today, you'll get $75 in free bonus items, including instant access to the ebook, the newest Talk, Smoke, Fire, and Freedom. We'll ship you the audiobook and the book 2 weeks from tomorrow on October the 3rd. And we want you to have this book, and we want you to be able to spread it around. It is an incredible, incredible work. Just go to RamseySolutions.com. Again, if you're listening to this on the 18th of September, you're catching the last possible day to get the ebook early. We'll still give you the ebook, but you'll just get it on the 3rd when everybody else gets their stuff. So that's okay. But we'll send it to you today. If you buy it right now, RamseySolutions.com. It'll come today. This is The Ramsey Show. Hey, if you're in over your head with student loans and tired of getting calls from collection agencies, if private student loan debt is taking away your financial peace and you don't see any way out, you need Y-Refi. They're not a debt settlement company, and they're not connected to a bank. Y-Refi refinances defaulted private student loans that other places won't touch and gives you a custom loan built for you based on your ability to pay. So when you refinance your private student loan debt with Y-Refi, you'll have a payment you can afford with a low fixed interest rate you couldn't get anywhere else to help you stick to your budget and work the debt snowball. And you can save thousands of dollars. To learn more about this custom refinancing option and a lump sum payoff option you could qualify for after 24 months, call 844-2-RAMSEY or go to yrefi.com/Ramsey. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Cammie is with us in Springfield, Illinois. Hi, Cammie. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi.
Hi, what's up?
Nothing. I am recently divorced, mom of two, and I just feel like I'm extremely behind financially, and I just was looking for tips and advice on how I get out of my situation that I'm in currently.
Okay. What is his income, your ex-husband's?
He makes about $45 an hour, but I do not take anything from him.
What do you make?
6 months. I currently make $18 an hour, and I'm a personal trainer, but I am only training for like 6 to 8 hours a week.
I think we found your problem.
Yeah, no, I know. I've been applying to jobs left and right. It's just I cannot seem to find one right now. Yes, I know my issue is I don't have enough income. That's something that I'm working on, but I didn't know. I don't know. I just don't know what to do.
Are you only applying to be a personal trainer?
No, I'm applying for all sorts of different positions,
Okay.
State positions, city positions, random places, in town. I'm applying all over the place.
Okay.
It's just, yeah.
Why aren't you taking? Why isn't he paying child support?
I was the one that wanted the divorce, and I just...
Doesn't matter. State law says he pays child support.
Yeah.
I know. I just didn't want anything ahead of the rest of my life, and I figured that I could do it on my own, and I want to be able to do it. I know that it was probably dumb looking at it now, but I think that when I am finally successful and I am out of my position that I'm in currently...
When was the divorce final?
July of this year.
How have you lived since July on 8 hours a week?
I take shifts at the restaurant that I worked at. I still can't work there, but I'm not scheduled. I just take shifts as they come. He works long hours, and we split the kids 50-50. But unfortunately, with his work schedule, I have been the one that has had to take the kids on the nights that he has to work late. So me getting a full-time job for the longest time was out of the question because our babysitter actually got shut down for a little while because she wasn't properly licensed. And so, yeah, I have just been living on tax return tips that I'm getting.
The problem is that these priorities have gotten all backwards on you. Okay. All of these things you're throwing at me are solved when you tell them all to take a side seat because you have to work and you have money. And when you have money because you're working, now you find a different babysitter and you're not dealing with some jackleg who's not even licensed and gets put on the street and shuts your whole operation down. Oh, and by the way, when he calls and says he has to work, you say, well, I'm sorry, you have the kids. I'm working.
Yeah. I think that
you don't revolve your life around all of these other people. You set your life up and they revolve around you.
Okay.
That's what's the problem.
Do you feel guilty that you filed for divorce here?
I don't feel guilty, no, but I just feel like anytime that the kids are not going to be properly taken care of by him, I just feel like since I was a stay-at-home mom for so long that it's my responsibility.
You're not a stay-at-home mom anymore. You made a decision to be a career person now.
That's right. And
yes.
what you're trying to do is to have it all at the same time with no pain.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
You filed for divorce. Okay. You left him for whatever reason you left him. And you can't eat.
Right.
And so you're going to have to put your ego aside and possibly go back and say, hey, I need some child support so our babies have groceries while I'm trying to find a job. That's ego talking right now.
He does have to pay me $600 or $500 a month for 6 months. We're currently on month 2 of that. I am getting state assistance through Link and medical insurance.
That is not a good long-term plan.
It's not a plan.
No, it is not. No, okay. I do not know.
A plan is you working 40 to 50 hours a week, making $25 or $30 an hour, and you can get back where you can eat. But you have defined good mom as being there for everyone except making money. And I'm redefining good mom as one who goes and makes some money to provide for her family because she's now a single mom. Okay. Redefine it.
Okay.
A good mom is one now that works 45 or 50 hours a week, and everyone else sits to the side while you do that. You figure it out, because you cannot be at home with the children anymore.
Right.
You don't have that option. I'm sorry. I wish you could, but the decisions have been made. That is now done. Yeah. And so they are the best way you can be there for them is go make some money. Not because money makes the world go round, but it does buy food, lights, and shoes.
Okay.
And you're struggling to do that right now.
Right.
And you're scared.
Yeah, no, it's a little bit scary, but I lived on my own I lived on my own for a little bit while I was working full time before the daycare got shut down, and then my place was infested with mold, so I had to move out, and I'm currently living with my parents. And I do sell beef. I raise cattle on the side, so
Cammie.
Yes.
You need a job.
Sorry.
You need a job.
I know.
Quit explaining to me all the reasons you don't. Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm not. Okay. Yeah.
Beef and picking up shifts and working around the unlicensed daycare and working around the husband ex-husband who still tells you when to jump and you jump. All of this are not good enough reasons. You have got to get back to full-time employment for the good of your children, your sanity.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have a choice. And once you decide that, then the mold and the unlicensed daycare, all these other things start to move away when you add $3,000 a month to this equation. It changes the equation, because money, what it does is it gives you options. It gives you power. It's not the money itself that matters. And I'm not all about money. Dave Ramsey's all about money. Single mom called and he's all about money. No, I want her to feed her dadgum kids and get the stress off of her because she's scared to death. But your head's spinning, and all you can do is just go into this kaleidoscope of reasons and excuses rather than going and doing it. And you have got to go do it, girl.
And this is not the time, Dave. It's not the season for follow your dreams.
No.
And I'm going to start the dream job, and I'll show them. This is not that time.
No.
This is anyone who will hire you. I got to get a job that I can make the most money and be the most impactful. And by the way, often when families get divorced, mom and dad think the greatest thing they can do for the kids is FaceTime. Let me tell you, the greatest gift you can give your kids is a present, stable, non-anxious mom and dad. And that means you got to be able to pay your bills. You got to be able to eat. If you're worried about your kids eating while you're sitting on the floor playing with them, they're going to feel that tension and they're going to absorb it and they're going to make it their fault.
Yeah.
You can't do that to your kids.
Exactly.
And you can't do that to your kids.
Yeah, we can't, the best thing you can do for you and them is go make a little money right now. You don't need to go make $300,000 a year, but you do need to go make 50 right now. And there's people doing that. And so hang on, we're going to give you a copy of Ken Coleman's book, From Paycheck to Purpose, and his other book, The Proximity Principle. And as soon as they hit your mailbox, I want you to sit down and read them and turn the stupid television off. You don't need to have a TV on in your house at all right now.
Yeah.
Turn it off.
It's just
you
a lot
need
of
to be
negativity.
reading these two books, and you need to be working.
Call a local school. People are so desperate for teachers right now. You've been a teacher as a trainer. Start thinking outside the box a little bit, but call local schools and see if you can get in as a teacher. Yeah,
anything. I mean, Target's hiring. UPS, we're coming into Christmas. Every retail out there is hiring at $25 an hour right now. They can't get people. And so you can get the hours and you can get the dollars coming in. But some of these people are just going to have to line up in your life and stand to the side instead of you being the one that stands to the side every time. That was the moral of the story we heard when you called us, Cammie. So we love you and we want you to win, kiddo, and understand why you're scared. But the chaos leaves when you rise up above it and start telling everybody where to dance instead of being the one told when to dance. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey folks, Dr. John Deloney here with some great news. You get to choose. Whatever you do, good or bad moving forward, the choice is yours. And when you're intentional about making good choices over time, they become healthy habits, like choosing to slow down and make time for a daily practice of prayer and meditation. One thing that has helped me with a daily practice of meditation and prayer is Hallow. Hallow is the #1 prayer app in the world, and they're giving you 3 months free to get started. That's 3 months free to prioritize your mental health and be intentional about finding peace through calming music, prayers, meditation, and more. And Hallow isn't just Catholic. You can tailor the content towards your faith tradition. If you don't have a faith tradition, this is a great place to learn more about it. From scripture readings and prayers to journaling, Hallow makes it easy to practice mindfulness, build a deeper, more meaningful spiritual life, and choose peace. Remember, Hallow is giving you 90 days free. Imagine the peaceful habits you can establish in 90 days. Go to hallow.com/Ramsey today and follow the simple prompts to start your free 90-day trial. That's hallow.com/Ramsey.
Justin's in Houston, Texas. Justin, welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hello, Dave. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I was wondering about taking a loan out for home repairs for the end goal being to sell the home. And I know that debt is bad, but the situation is that I have 2 elderly relatives with a fixed income, and the houses that they have, fortunately, are completely paid off. The issue is that they have significant damages to their foundation, to their walls, a lot of it. They're safe to live in, but I was thinking perhaps if there's if an equity loan could be taken out against it in order to fix those significant issues and then sell off those houses so that they can eventually live in like a smaller place, like a condominium or a townhouse, where they wouldn't be burdened by the property taxes that these houses are in. If that would be acceptable, in your opinion?
I would not do that, no. Because as always with a story with debt, your story only works if it works. But I've been there when it doesn't work. Like when these people with hardly any income have a home equity loan, the house won't sell, and the interest rates go through the roof. Did you notice interest rates have been rising? And now they're sitting there trapped. Oh, now they get foreclosed on. That's the people I've met. So
okay.
The debt plan only works when it works, and it hardly ever works because life hardly ever works exactly the way you map it out in your head. So, yeah, if everything worked exactly like you said, would that work? Yeah, it would work, but it doesn't. It's not how life works. The contractor screws them doing the basement repairs. Now they've got all the debt, and the repairs still aren't quite done. So, now, but they borrowed all they can borrow. Now they're trapped with a partially completed construction project. Oh, and then the interest rates go up, and then one of them falls ill. Yeah, this is how real life unfolds here.
So why wouldn't you just sell the houses outright now as is?
As is.
And get the cash?
Well, my concern is that the damage are such that that the amount that the houses would sell for would be significantly less than they could potentially get.
Yeah, well, that's true. But they're not in the real estate investment business. They're in the broke old people business.
Yes, that's correct. And that was like in my ideal vision is that they could get as much money for their houses to be able to sustain their retirement. They're in their 80s.
Do you have any money?
I do, but not
How much
enough
money do you have?
I have my wife and I have around 98K in our retirement accounts.
Mm-hmm.
we have no debt. We've been very blessed.
So you don't have the money to give them for this, do you?
No, sir.
Okay. You are a kind person, Justin, trying to do something good for your grandma, grandpa, or your uncle or aunt or whoever it is, and but you're getting ready to create a bigger mess because you don't see all the unintended things that could come about here that actually likely are more likely than the scenario that you've laid out in your head. That's what I'm trying to describe to you. So, yeah, I would get with, go to Ramsey Solutions and click on Ramsey Trusted for Real Estate and get an agent to come over there and tell them, hey, help me with this, because I don't want these people to have to give these houses away, but they simply don't have the money to fix them. And how can we get an investor in here to give top dollar as is, as John was suggesting? Because that's where this needs to go, man.
I mean, my grandparents did the exact thing we're talking about here. The neighborhood they were in the same city, they're in Houston, was starting to be gentrified, and they had some major work that needed to be done on the foundation, some major work needed to be done on the driveway, and they just sold the house. The guy came up and wrote him a check in the driveway, handed him a check for the house. I mean, it was transaction.
Yeah.
And
no, it's not as much as if it had been fixed up.
That's right.
That's what his point is, and he's right
also,
about that. But we're not in the house flipping business.
That's
here.
right. That's right. That wasn't their game to play, and they may have had to go to a different nursing home or whatever. But they did. I mean, it's just not the business we're in.
You know, broke 70-year-olds don't do rehabs for flips.
Yeah,
that's what it amounts to.
Especially on margin.
Especially when you're borrowing a home equity loan on a paid-for house. It's just, and that's being cold. But really, this is the actual fact of what we're facing now. How do we walk through it? Yeah. Well, so I don't want them to have to sell their house so cheap. That decision was made years ago when they didn't bother to keep the maintenance up. Now we're just having to execute the decision. That's when they gave up that equity, was when they didn't do the maintenance years ago, and they didn't take care of their money so that they could.
But they chose to buy a couple of houses,
which is very sad,
instead of fixing up the one. Yeah,
exactly. So yeah, get with a Ramsey trusted real estate agent there. There's a bunch of really good ones in Houston. Somebody will help you try to get this and try to help get these folks out of this, because bless their hearts, they're in a mess of their own making, but they're in a mess, and we don't want to make the mess bigger, which is what debt does. So, yeah, I actually, I thought 100 years ago, it feels like now, I was in a Bible study, and from a Christian or a spiritual perspective or a biblical perspective, this guy was pointing out, and it's not words we use anymore because it's so long ago, but he said, when you borrow, you are presuming. And there's all kinds of scriptures against presuming.
Presumption, yeah.
Don't presume.
Yeah.
That the Lord, don't presume upon something you can't control as like the future. Because who the crud knows you're going to have a Fauci quarantine. I mean, who the crud knows, Apparently Fauci did, but the rest of us didn't. Right. I mean, it's just like, wow. So this is...
And hey, I grew up in the house of somebody who worked at Enron. Don't tell me, no, my business is secure. No, my company is doing great. It's life. We wouldn't have jobs if life didn't turn that way, man.
Yeah, if it turned out the way you thought it was going to turn out every time, nobody would be calling.
And if you want to count on one thing over the next 24 months while we go through the presidential cycle again, it's going to get chaotic out there. So I wouldn't borrow.
Imagine. Tammy is in Austin, Texas. Hey, Tammy, what's up?
Hey, Dave. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
So I'm calling in. My question is, should I pay for my daughter's out-of-state tuition based on my current financial situation, age,
no,
and retirement?
No.
Okay.
I had all kinds of money, and I refused to pay out-of-state tuition because there's absolutely no value add for it.
Okay.
If you go to Auburn University versus going to the University of Tennessee, you know what the difference is in your education? None.
None.
And you pay 5 times more. You know what the difference is? You go to Alabama versus University of Tennessee, Alabama wins at football. That's it. That's the only difference.
They used to.
Until lately. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it doesn't matter. It's nothing. The number of people that we didn't hire here because they went to in-state versus out-of-state is 0 in 1,000 employees.
All right, just a hard no. Okay.
Yeah, it's a hard no. It's no value for it. Why would she do that?
Okay. Well, friends, that's where she wants to go, dream school, all of this, and I'm sitting here like, do I give this to her? Do I make this happen? Like, you feel guilty. Like
I don't feel guilty. My kids got, my kids had like an extra $50,000 in a mutual fund that was in their name when they graduated because I didn't allow them to spend it on out-of-state tuition.
That's what I would rather do.
Well, it's my money, so I did what I wanted to do.
You're the mama. You get to do what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
Hey, and by the way, the whole ecosystem, here's how the game works, because I've been on the inside. Let's make this kid believe that this is the one. They use the same language that the kids are taught to find the one, that one person, that Romeo and Juliet. Like there's one person cruising the world.
God
one.
got me into the school.
Yeah.
No, he
so
didn't.
they reach, hey, we saw you, 17-year-old, and we picked you, university to fill in the blank. And then you leverage that to make you feel bad about it, mom and dad, and then you write these checks that you know while you're writing them. This is stupid.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
We have a local private school called Brentwood Academy, BA. Stands for Before Auburn. Because they all go across the line to Auburn for no apparent reason. That's what we call it, Before Auburn.
Before Auburn?
Yeah. So
and after Auburn?
Why? Because they all follow their friends and their brothers and sisters.
Hey guys, being free to make your own medical decisions is a big deal these days. Christian Healthcare Ministries gives members the freedom to choose the doctors and providers they want without the frustration of worrying about networks and with no waiting period to join. It's a membership-based nonprofit ministry where hundreds of thousands of Christians share funds to pay for and pray for each other's medical bills. For over 40 years, CHM has helped families living across all 50 states. So see if CHM could be right for your family. Check out more today at chministries.org/budget.
Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Just to be clear, we are not against higher education. We're not even against Auburn, although we used them as an example there.
I love Auburn. They're great.
Picking on them. But I see absolutely no logical reason that presents itself with a return on investment for why you would pay $25,000 to go to basically the same school that you could go to for $10,000. And it makes no sense at all. And I can go a step further and say those schools that are, quote, famous, unquote, that supposedly afford you a, quote, better education, unquote, several of the people that graduated from there work for me. And I went to the University of Tennessee. So kind of mic drops on that. That's how it works. So, the question is not, what you're after here is not a degree from a fancy-pantsy place that guarantees your success. What you're after is a degree that indicates that you got knowledge. Knowledge is the currency, not the degree. Knowledge is the door opener, not the degree. Knowledge causes you to win in the marketplace, not the degree. And if you get knowledge about something that no one gives a crap about, you become a barista. So you get a degree in left-handed puppetry, then you are waiting tables. Or some nuanced bullcrap that somebody talked you into that has nothing to do with anything in the real world, then your knowledge base that you paid for, it has no market for it. You need to get knowledge that has a market. Probably one of the best bangs for your buck, if you're so inclined. I'm not, because my brain doesn't work this way. But if I was a bit more of a detail person, which would be like any detail at all would be more than I am. But if I was a detail person, I would go to code school for $10,000 and go make $250,000 coding. I mean, I would become one of the top programmers in the world and go make, $250,000, $300,000 coding, and you can get that for $10,000. In my case, I probably would end up, getting a welding certificate from the trade school because I like that kind of stuff. But and you can make $100,000 doing that. So we're not against higher education. We're against paying for stupid things that have nothing to do with furthering your life. And that is the name of the college that you went to, and that is a degree that is useless.
Yeah, and, man, there's so much to be said there. Just ask yourself what you're looking to do, not don't ask a 17-year-old or 18-year-old, I think, a very unfair question, which is, what is your passion?
Or where are your friends going?
Yeah. What's right for you and your family? What's right for where you think you're going to be in a couple of years? What are you interested in right now? And if coding's not for you, then you can never go wrong learning how to write real well because it helps you think. If you're really into math, go get a degree in business. There's just so many opportunities that you can get a broad base so you can walk into any industry and be of service to those folks.
Add knowledge.
Knowledge.
And keep adding knowledge.
And relationships.
Keep adding knowledge. Yeah, keep reading a book. Read a nonfiction book this year. Hello.
A bunch. A bunch of them.
If your entire repertoire is Tiger King, you're screwed. You really should learn something of value that you can use in the marketplace. And so that this is very important. And I'll tell you, there's one thing worse than your kid going to school where all their friends are going. It's if they go where their boyfriend or girlfriend is going.
Why is that?
Well, if the reason I'm going to this school is my boyfriend or girlfriend is going there.
Yeah.
If that's your reason for picking that school, about 100% of the time, approaching 100%, that deal's not going to last.
So I may have done that, Dave.
It might have worked for you.
We broke up 2 days into school.
No!
I did that. I met somebody over the summer completely. I threw away 100% full ride scholarship to one college, went to another school because she was the one in my 18-year-old mind, and we lasted 48 hours.
Wow.
But I met my current wife, so it worked out.
Wow. And what you got for that forgiven scholarship is one story to tell in front of 25 million people.
I don't tell that story very often.
I wouldn't have admitted it ever.
That one goes in the old back pocket. That one goes in the back pocket.
I've done a lot. A full ride scholarship.
I had several, and I took. Dude,
oh my God!
I still ask my mom, like, how did y'all let me? And they're like, I don't know, man.
We couldn't stop you.
There was
no stopping you.
I mean, they stopped me doing other stuff, but I don't know, man.
The Ramsey Show question of the day, sponsored by Neighborly, your hub for home services. Most American homes have dozens of appliances. Chances are, at any given time, something wrong with at least one of them. Mr. Appliance, a Neighborly brand, offers expert appliance service to your schedule. Visit neighborly.com today and find home service experts, including Mr. Appliance, in your area.
Today's question comes from Andrew in Nevada. Hey, guys, I love listening to your show, and it's helped me give me a lot of comfort in my life. I've heard Dave says he gives a 10% tithe, and I do as well and believe the same. My question is, would there ever be a time when you wouldn't tithe in order to get yourself out of a bad financial situation? I was in a situation where it was hard to tithe, and I'm just curious as to what thoughts you guys have. I realize this is probably more of a spiritual question than a money question. What do you think?
I'm 100% sure that your tithe has nothing to do with your salvation. I'm 100% sure from Scripture that God loves you if you tithe or if you don't tithe, exactly the same. He's wildly crazy about you. The purpose of the tithe is not to get a Boy Scout badge in heaven. That's not the purpose of the tithe. Your father, who's crazy about you, says, son, the best way to live your life is give a tenth of your income off the top before you do anything. And I'll love you anyway, whether you do that or not. Your father says stay out of debt because the borrower is slave to the lender. Your father says don't build a tower without first counting the cost lest you get halfway up and you're unable to finish. And all who see you begin to mock you. And this man began to build and was unable to finish. That's Jesus' words saying to a budget, don't build without a plan. Don't build without a plan. This is your father. None of these things affect his love for you or your salvation. So tithe or don't tithe. God still loves you. Now, if my dad, who's crazy about me and knows more than me, says tithe, I tithe. But it has nothing to do with earning anything. My grace is taken care of. It's substantial. It's substantial. It's taken care of. So,
it's way more grace than I need.
To answer your question, I tithed all the way into bankruptcy court and all the way out, but it had nothing to do with I was scared of God. It had nothing to do with I was trying to earn his favor. It had to do with apparently you can live on 90% of whatever. If you're not making much and you're having a hard time, it's 10% of not much. And so I did. I tithed all the way in, all the way out, and it wasn't because I'm a legalist, and it wasn't because of that. It was because I think it's the best way to live, just like I think staying out of debt's the best way to live.
Yeah, I like to look at some of these quote-unquote rules, these scriptural rules, as
they're not.
This is the best way to live your life.
They're not rules.
It's a gift. It's
They're
the best
principles.
way. Exactly. So there's something about giving. There's something about a spirit of gratitude that keeps your eyes out of your navel and helps you look up and see your neighbor. It just changes the way you work your way through life. And there's something about meeting people eye to eye, hand to hand, that changes the way your heart beats. And so I think this is much less it is a spiritual question more than a money question, but it's actually a physiological question. It's a relationship question. It's a way to do life. It's a way to do life.
And your father, who is the great I am, who's standing there 5 years from now, knows where you're going to be, and he was standing there 5 years ago and knows where you came from at the same time, not bound by time, is saying, son, best way to live. Yeah. And so for me, it's just like it's an act of faith at that point, faith in that. But it's not. But if someone says you can't be blessed because you're not tithing, not true.
Yeah, not true at all.
Not true. Can't find it in Scripture. Oh, you can find Scripture taken out of context to point to that, but God does not need your money. He's God. If he wanted your money, he'd take it and there'll be a greasy spot where you were sitting. He's God. He doesn't need your money, but he wants you to win. He wants you to have an abundant life. This is the Ramsey Show.
Hey, it's Dr. John Deloney. If you like what you heard in this episode and want to know more about getting started on the Ramsey baby steps, go to RamseySolutions.com and click on the Get Started button. We'll help you figure out the best next step for you based on your specific situation. That's RamseySolutions.com and click Get Started.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's the Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create actual amazing relationships. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey personality, #1 best-selling author, and author of the brand new book coming out in 2 weeks, Building a Non-Anxious Life, is my co-host today. Thanks for joining us. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Peter is with us in Miami, Florida. Hi, Peter. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, Dave. Thank you.
Thank you. How can we help?
So I'm wondering what role you think I should play in helping my financially irresponsible mother.
You know, one of the things that it's weird about that question for a lot of us is when we face that, is it seems like money is in a different category than other misbehavior.
Mm-hmm.
If you changed out her misbehavior for something else, a different kind of misbehavior or irresponsibility, how would the answer change? It shouldn't really, should it? It ought to be the same answer. So, in other words, if we wanted to go extreme and say, how do I help my mom who's addicted to cocaine? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it wouldn't be give her more.
Right.
It would be help her break the habit and transform her life. That's help. Help is not doing more of the bad thing. Help is correcting the behaviors. So, and of course, that involves the person on the other end wanting the help.
Yeah, I usually run into parents don't want your help; they want your solution, right?
Yeah, she just has no issues. Coming to me again and again and again and again, and a nibble here and a bite here, and I know that the big bite is coming,
But hold on. Why wouldn't she come to you? Because you give it to her every time.
Right. I know.
And so at this point, I don't even blame her
You're
anymore.
a dependable enabler.
Yeah, I don't even blame her anymore.
I am. And, it's the nibbles I don't mind, and I know that that's a bad thing to say, but that's what got her to the bite. And, next thing I know, she's telling me that she rents her house because she's been bankrupt, et cetera. So she can't get a mortgage, and she can't, frankly, afford a mortgage down here anymore. So she came to me because she needed money for movers. She needed money for her security deposit, her first month last month, which I did all of that. And then I sort of dug into her finances and realized that you can't even afford this rent. So I tried to get ahead of that, and fortunately, I'm doing very well for myself and my family, but I'm doing well for myself and my family. Mm-hmm. And I've got 2 young children and a wife and a mortgage and a business to run. So I tried to get ahead
Peter,
of it.
how long has this been going on?
Oh, I mean, her financial irresponsibility.
No, you giving her money.
On.
You giving her money. How long has that been going
on? Probably 5, 6, 7 years.
How old is she?
About 73.
Oh, wow. And she's stone broke.
Yeah, and recently widowed, which only, made me softer. My stepfather passed 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. So obviously that I was trying to help.
And what do you make?
The family household income is probably $750,000.
Okay. And so it's not a matter of you can't or can, you can, mathematically.
Yeah.
It's a matter of what's good for her. She's 73. She's probably not very employable. I guess she has Social Security.
She does have a job.
I'm sorry?
She does have a full-time job. She does have a full-time job.
Okay, I retract that statement. What does she do?
Yep. She's a customer service, and she has been for about 20 years, the same job. But, she's one fall away from not being able to work anymore.
Yeah, okay. So I'll tell you the financial answer, and I'll let John tell you the psychological answer, okay? Mm-hmm. The financial answer, if I'm in your shoes, is I'm going to sit down with her and say, Mom, you have this coming in from your Social Security. You have this coming in from your job. And these are your bills. Let's do a budget together. And you can make your bills, or you're within $400 of making your bills, or whatever it is, okay? Mm-hmm. And so I am not going to write checks just from today on without us having a sense of control over what's going on here. So I'll help you and coach you with your money, but it looks to me like you have enough to live on. Mm-hmm. And I'll help you and coach you live on that. Or if you don't have enough to live on, I'm going to give you $2,000 a month so that you have enough to live on. It's $24,000 out of $750,000. You can afford it, but you say this is what we're doing. But then she needs to it's you're becoming bitter, and I would too.
Yes.
Because you feel like an ATM machine.
Exactly.
And then there's an entitlement that goes with this on her end. And so I would shut all of that down and just say, okay, this is a system, and we're going to live by this system, and draw some boundaries. And Mom, if you don't want to do that, if you don't want to live on the budget that you and I put together, and that I check on you to make sure you're living on that budget, then I'm not going to help you anymore. And you're going to have to just figure it out, because it's not good for you what I've been doing, and I'm sorry I've let you down. John, what would you do?
Yeah, I wonder if you're more frustrated with yourself than with her right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's just every time I try to get ahead of it, for example, when she was looking at this rent, I said, you know what, I'm just going to buy her an apartment, and then she can just pay me, what she can afford. I was going to buy her an apartment outright, and I was scrambling because she was looking for a rental that she couldn't afford. None of these places could she afford, because we kind of, not a deep dive, but we looked at her finances. And then I realized, okay, this is just easier for me to buy an apartment. At least then I can consider it a quote-unquote investment of some sort. And I presented her with it, and she said, no, I don't want to live there. I'm just going to rent this other place.
And hold on. And that's where you, who are clearly a special businessman to be able to make the money you make. You're clearly very, very smart, and I would be willing to bet nobody in your sphere blows past you like that, but she does.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
I don't want you to consider sitting down at the table and saying, I'm looking at the fact that you may be around until you're 93, 20 more years.
Mm-hmm.
We have to put some things in concrete right now. I want you to tattoo this phrase on the middle of your forehead. Choose guilt over resentment every time. Because right now you're backing yourself into a corner because you won't set boundaries, and you're beginning, every time your mom calls, you get angry.
Yes.
And your mom, quite frankly, deserves better than that. And that means you have to set the boundaries up. And then she, as a 73-year-old adult, can say, I hate you, you don't even love me, and you walk away. She's a grown-up and she gets to do that. I would hate that, but she gets to do that. Your job is to create boundaries that are sustainable for 20 years from this point forward. And by the way, sit with your wife and y'all decide what y'all are going to do to help her before you sit down with your mom.
Yeah, how much you're willing to do. But the unlimited thread being pulled on the sweater is killing both of you.
Yeah.
You got to cut it. This. If you're like most people, your home is your most valuable asset. And when you want to make improvements, it can feel like everything costs too much or takes too long. But something as simple as custom window coverings from Blinds.com can completely change your space and add value to your home. We've recommended Blinds.com for over a decade, so you know you can trust them. From blinds, drapes, and shutters to motorized shades, they make it easy and affordable to upgrade your entire home, and their team is ready to help with everything from design consultation to measuring and installation. Plus, there are never any misleading quotes or hidden fees. Everything's backed by their 100% satisfaction guarantee, and shipping is always free. See why Blinds.com is the #1 online retailer of custom window coverings. Visit Blinds.com to get up to 45% off. That's Blinds.com. Rules and restrictions may apply. Open phones this hour at 888-825-5225. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Dr. John, I don't really have a good exact checklist or anything, but just general observation over 30 years of doing this on the air and working with people. One of the, I'll just make it up, top 5 pain points that people have with money is how to properly be compassionate, kind, loving to extended family. Grown children that have problems. How do we, children that are out of the house or that should be out of the house. Parents, brother, sister, extended family, that we see that they have a need or they bring us a need, either one, and then how to appropriately deal with that. The whole issue of boundaries, Dr. Henry Cloud sold 10 million boundaries books off of that concept. But the whole, our buddy Henry, but that whole issue is, mathematically, it probably causes almost as much disruption in someone's wealth building journey as anything else. Keeps you from becoming wealthy.
And is it the lack of, when I don't fully understand what my values are around money, when I fully don't understand my own footing, Is that where the challenges come from?
I
they
don't
just
know.
They don't want the family members to be mad at
them? In my
them?
mind, it's reduced simply to we don't know how to establish proper boundaries. And a boundary can be that I agree to help somebody. A boundary can be I decided I'm going to say no. But we don't have that part of our compass it's as toxic as some families are.
But it's like that last caller gets mad that somebody keeps coming in his space, but he's never done the work to define his space.
Exactly.
And so you have to do the hard work and say, this is, for me and my house, this is what we make, this is what we have, this is what we can do, and then ask, would we do that and why? And those are questions that people don't like to ask.
Well, but I mean, when you're, there's a book called Glass Castle. That is a lady that was a MSNBC reporter, very well known, and she was raised in an extremely weird, toxic, dysfunctional family. Both of her parents, as she's an adult, were living on the street in New York while she was working at MSNBC.
Wow.
They were homeless.
Wow.
They chose, but they were kooky. But I mean, it's a great read, just because it's like, oh, just in case you thought your family was crazy, thing. But she felt helpless to fix them, but they chose homelessness in that case. You can't make these adults behave. The only thing you can control is your space, and that's so hard for people.
Oh, it's so hard. It's so hard. But like that last caller, I guess let's say it this way: there will be a confrontation.
Yep.
That will happen, and the earlier you can have it, the lower it tends to be. And so in that last situation where he's thinking, I'm just going to buy her an apartment. I found one that I can afford. I'll write a check for it and call it good. And she said, I'm not living there. That's when the conversation happens. Then I'm not putting a penny towards the choices you're choosing to make.
Yeah.
You can figure it out. I'm not doing that. This is open invitation for you right here. And that's a hard conversation. But she has no motivation to even not live where she wants to, because she knows he's just going to give me the money.
Yeah.
And it's the same way with kids, the same way with neighbors, the same way with family members.
But there's Cloud talks about, and I guess it was the first chapter maybe even of that book, that when you set a boundary with someone who doesn't respect boundaries, 100% of the time you can expect a negative reaction.
Always.
Pouting, guilt tripping, anger. None of them go, oh, well, I never thought of it that way. I'm so sorry.
And think of it like you built a fence and your neighbor's throwing rocks at it, hitting it with sticks. Everyone's going to use the tools that they have to try to get you to open the gate up. And don't.
Yeah.
And that's hard.
This is the boundary. But, man, it is really...
It's hard.
It causes more heartache and literally then does end up driving a wedge between a husband and wife, because one of them's helping the other one's... I'm choosing my crazy brother who won't get a job over my wife's wishes, and that drives a wedge in their marriage, and it slows down wealth building. And it's not to say you can't help extended family or you shouldn't help, but this idea that we're morally obligated to meet their every wish just because they hit the DNA lottery and happen to be kin to us.
I think it's something else.
Okay.
I actually think if you flip this conversation on its head, we use our family members to help us feel better about ourselves. I don't want to be uncomfortable that my mom is in position X or Y, so I'm just going to do whatever. And when you do that, you're actually consuming her. You're using her to make you feel better. And I'm not going to do that. I'm going to sit in the discomfort so that we're all better 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now. It's like going to the gym and taking all the weights off the bar. That sure makes the workout easier, but ain't nobody getting any stronger. And so I'm not going to use my 14-year-old and her approval to make me feel better about myself. I'm going to have the hard conversation and say, you can't talk like that in this home.
And it's really, when you say choose guilt over resentment, it's also, you could be choosing their anger over resentment.
Yeah, of course.
You could be choosing their disapproval over resentment.
They're
you could be choosing whatever way they choose to hit back when you draw a boundary over resentment.
Right.
Because you're going to be resentful if you remain in the enabler seat.
Right.
And your spouse is going to be 10x as resentful as you are. if you remain in the enabler seat.
And in a less caustic situation, let's say my mom calls and says, or sends an email and says, we want y'all to come to Christmas. A whole family's coming. We're really expecting y'all to be there. And we can't travel this year. Or our family's exhausted. We don't have the money, whatever. I can say yes. And the whole time I'm driving there, I'm going to be mad at her. The whole time I'm sitting at the meal, I'm going to be mad. That's not fair to her. It's fair to her to say, we're not coming. We're unable to make that trip this year. We're not going to be able to do it. And then she gets to be an adult and do whatever reactions on the back end of that she wants to do. But the fair thing is, I'm not going to spend a weekend not liking my mom. Mm-hmm. I'd rather feel guilt. I'd rather listen to her responses than to sit there and smolder the whole weekend. And by the way, your kids learn how to treat in-laws when you do that, or your mother when you do that. You're modeling to everybody how to live. I'm just not going to do that anymore. No. I'm going to set the boundaries, and they're going to be hard, and I have to be in a position to let other adults walk away if they don't approve or like my boundaries on something.
You know, I think Sharon and I went to the extreme other end on that. We may have messed up the other way.
What's that?
We don't put any expectations on our kids for the holidays, and we have fallen in love with our in-laws. So Winston's mom and dad. I mean, dad's going on a hunting trip with me in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
you know, without Winston.
Yeah.
And without my son, you know, and because Buddy and I like each other, you know, and so Buddy and Helen and Dave and Sharon do stuff. Same with Bill's parents, same with Allison's parents. So the in-laws, we're actually friends with them, and we made that an intentional act.
That's cool.
But they're also cool people.
That's cool.
And you know, we'll travel together. I mean, Buddy's gone. You know, we've gone to Mexico together, done other stuff, and so that's cool. That we've gone on golfing trips with all of us, all the guys, all three grandpas.
That's pretty cool.
That's fun. So, you know, we'll do that kind of stuff, but we intend it. And then when Thanksgiving comes up and the kids go, we're going to Kansas City to Allison's parents. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You should.
Knock it out.
Should. And then we'll just figure it out. We see you all the time, by the way. They're here.
They're all here in Nashville.
So, yeah. So we got it made in that regard. But it's not like we're perfect or something, but we just went to the extreme of full release.
Yeah.
And the happiness, the secret to happiness is low expectations. Hello.
But there's a strange phenomenon, Dave, that when you fully release it, it tends to come back. It tends to come back.
But it works out.
It does.
It works out because, again, it's just, if you don't have these expectations, you don't stay screwed up and torqued out all the time.
That's right.
And that's the same true of somebody else's money.
And then people want to be around you when you're not torqued out all the time. It just tends to work that way.
Yeah, and again, that's a type of boundary situation. So it's very interesting discussion. It's something I've observed here for 30 years. So setting boundaries with the extended family on money. It's a competitive home buying market, but there's a way you can get an edge. Churchill Mortgage works with you to understand your budget and your goals. And the Churchill Mortgage Home Buyer Edge offers you fast pre-approval and a secured interest rate. Plus, Churchill has bumped up their seller guarantee to $10,000, giving your offer the best chance of being accepted and helping you win in today's market. Go to churchillmortgage.com today to learn more. Dr. Ciondoloni, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Rick is in Boston. Hi, Rick. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, Dave. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
Well, 65 years old, and wondering if I'll be able to retire at 72 and be okay with my current situation.
Okay. What's your current situation?
Okay. Well, I'm very healthy and very well in shape. I have a great job. I plan on continuing to work. I still owe $136,000 on my home. Mm-hmm. I would like to have that paid off by the time I do my retirement at 72. Mm-hmm. I have a truck, $30,000 on the truck. Mm-hmm. And in March of this year, I installed solar on my roof. I'm not sorry I did that. That was a $22,000. I bought it outright, $22,000 loan.
I'm sorry. Is it a loan or did you buy it?
Well, it's through I took out a solar loan.
So it's a loan. Okay, so you're $22,000 in debt on solar. What else?
Correct. 18 left on that, by the way.
Okay.
Trying to pay that off. I have not yet received my federal percentage for taxes next year, but that's going on there. So that'll be down to like $9,000 probably in March of next year. I have 110 401k. I have 5,000 emergency, and I have 0 credit card debt. I do.
What do you
pay
make?
Alimony, $100,000 a year.
Okay.
I pay alimony approximately just about $10,000 a year. I have till November of 24.
Okay, what I would do if I were in your shoes is I would get these 2 debts paid off immediately. And I would stop adding to your 401k temporarily, and I want the truck and the solar paid off inside of 12 months.
Really?
Beans and rice, rice and beans. You have no life until you get that done. That is yep. Job one. It's an emergency. Or sell the stupid truck, one of the two.
Well, I can't. That's my only vehicle.
Well, you could get another vehicle. You don't need a $30,000 one. But yes, you can.
Well, actually, it's a $60,000 truck. I only owe $30,000 on it.
Good. Then you could sell it and get a $30,000 car. Okay.
Yeah.
But, I'd sell it right now and buy a $10,000 car and pay that other debt off too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you don't have any money.
Yeah.
Well,
you're 65 years old and you're broke.
Yeah. So here's I had a plan. Let me tell you what my plan was. You tell me if you think this is work, if this is good or not. And I'll totally listen to you guys. In 14 months, my alimony payment stopped. So that's another $10,000 that I have that I was thinking about putting back into my 401k and trying to catch up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also going to hit my full retirement age, so I can start taking my Social Security, which is about $3,200 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going to try and pay off the loans with that, the house and the truck. Well, the solar but the solar I'm not really worried about because I've been making a lot of payments on that, and that'll be just about gone. But between the house and the truck, with my, and continue to work, I thought maybe because, what do you figure, $3,200 a month in Social Security.
Yeah, you're about $500,000 or $600,000 behind.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And so, no, I think your plan's too slow. I would get more radical if I was in your shoes. I would get a $30,000 truck. I would sell this one, or a $10,000 truck, and I'd pay off the stuff. By Christmas, I'd be debt-free other than the house. And every dollar I can squeeze out, I'm then going to start putting 15% of my income into retirement and everything else towards this house. And I want the house paid off in like 3 years. Not in 7 years. And then I want you just loading up 401ks and Roth IRAs and anything else you can load up in good mutual funds. Then you will end up with about $400,000 or $500,000 in a paid-for house at 72. The track you're on right now, you're going to end up with about $250,000 in a paid-for house at 72. And that there's about a $250,000 swing in what you're planning to do and what I'm teaching you. But I'm teaching you some sacrifice you don't really want to do. And you got to quit saying crap like the cellular was a good idea. It wasn't a good idea. Broke people don't spend $22,000 on cellular. Solar, whatever it is. Yeah.
And you got to quit borrowing money.
Don't buy cellular either.
You got to quit. You got to quit buying money. Borrowed money. You don't have any. You don't have any money.
That's my point. You got to stop this. You can't talk about this is okay. This is okay. It's not okay. It's killed you, man. I mean, you make good money and you got virtually no money. So. I mean, I'm not saying you're horrible, but you're a C- student at this. This is not an A+. You didn't flunk. You're not retiring it with Social Security only. That's flunking, right? But you got to lean into this. And yeah, I'm with John. If I woke up in your shoes, what would I do? I'm about your age. I mean, I'm 63. So if I woke up in your shoes, I'd be driving a $10,000 truck. I'd be debt-free, and I'd have a game plan to knock that 136 out so fast it's unbelievable. Meanwhile, dumping everything else I can find into my 401k, getting Roth IRAs and load those puppies up. Because here's the thing. 7 years, it'll double. Whatever you're doing, whatever you got in your lump sum today, it'll double if it's in good mutual funds. So that 110 that's there will be 220, and your house will be paid for. That's your $250,000 I'm talking about. That's what you'll have. You might have a little bit more than that if you get aggressive on putting some in. You might have 300, but you could have 600.
And we talked,
and then you can buy a truck.
We talked about this earlier. The confrontation will come, and this confrontation is going to be between you and math. It's coming. You can manage it on your terms right now and make some sacrifices, some pretty hard sacrifices, or you can just wait, and it will hit you at 88 in your ward of the state.
Yep. Ellen's with us in Atlanta. Hi, Ellen. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Thank you. Hey, Dave. Hey, John. Really appreciate your show.
Sure.
I am 63 years old. I'm single, and I am trying to decide whether to take out a loan on a house or townhouse or to buy. My net worth is about $4 million.
Why would you borrow money?
Well, my financial advisor advised me to do that.
Oh, I would get a new financial advisor.
Yeah, they're fired.
Oh.
Bye, Felicia.
Okay.
You have more money than he does. And how did you get there? How did you get there? Not by his advice. You got there by using your common sense.
Yeah. Well,
and your common sense is telling you to pay cash for this.
Yeah, it is.
And your financial advisor is confusing you.
Yes, I'm very confused.
Pay cash.
Okay.
I'm interested even, how did he come to this?
Oh, he wants her to invest the money with him.
Yeah, he wants to hold on to your money because if you buy a house with cash, he loses that investment money, right? So he has a financial interest in you not doing what's best for you. Mm-hmm. But I'm interested in his argument.
It's she can make more on the investment.
Oh, geez.
He that mortgage rates are going to go down, and there'll be more inventory on the housing market. So maybe prices will go down within the year. Yeah.
You really need a new guy, hon.
Okay.
Okay. Because there's a housing shortage. We've got the lowest inventory in 15 years on the market right now. There's only 1 million properties on the market right now. There's usually 3 million on the market. So when you have that kind of a shortage, prices don't go down, they go up. Mm-hmm. Anytime there's a shortage like that. So we're not going to see house prices go down, not substantially. They're probably going to go up about 7% in 23. That's what all the projections are. This guy is playing games with his math. That's dangerous. And you need to trust you. You are wiser than he is. Trust your instincts. I would pay cash for it if I were in your shoes. And of course, you called Dave Ramsey. You knew he was going to say that. So this is the Ramsey Show. Well, you've all played the telephone game. The first person whispers a message to the second person, who whispers it to the third, and so on around the table until the original message has completely changed. Multiply that confusion by 100 if you run a business with different software systems that don't talk to each other. That's why there's NetSuite by Oracle. In the early days of Ramsey, we were using different systems for all of our business units. We needed one single source for accurate data. NetSuite was the software we used to optimize and take us to the next level. NetSuite gave us the visibility into all of our numbers so that we could communicate across departments and plan ahead better. And as we grew, it scaled with us. NetSuite worked for Ramsey, and it will make a difference for your business too. Join the more than 34,000 customers who trust NetSuite to help make them smarter and make better decisions and level up their operations. To learn more, get a free product tour at netsuite.com/Ramsey. That's netsuite.com/Ramsey. Dr. John Deloney, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Ann is with us in San Diego. Hi, Ann. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hi, Dave. Hi, Dr. John. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Sure.
I love all your answers today, especially the one about tithing.
Oh, thank you. How can we help?
So, yes. Okay, so I've got $350,000 in mutual funds, which generates a monthly income for me of about $2,000. And that $2,000 is about a third of my total income for the month. My question to you is, I've got a car loan out for, it's $20,000 total, and I just was informed that we have to pay back our student loans, which will be about $25,000.
How old are you?
The question is, I'm 67.
Okay. All right. So you're retired, and this is your nest egg.
Yes.
And what
Yes,
is it invested
correct.
in?
Mutual funds.
Okay. So they're making more than $2,400 a month, or $2,000 a month,
Right.
was it? But you're just
I beg
not
your pardon?
taking all of it out.
Right, exactly.
Okay. Good. Good. Okay. So would I rather have $300,000 in no debt or $350,000 with debt?
No,
That's-
the question is, should I pay off the student loan and the car loan with my mutual funds?
Yes. Is that your
So that
only?
would
Is
be
that your
45
only money? Is that $350,000?
Oh, no.
Oh, how much money elsewise do you have?
Elsewise, I have a retirement, I have a pension, and Social Security.
Okay, the retirement is a nest egg or what?
It's a monthly income.
Okay, so
thing.
you have a bunch of monthly income, but in terms of money that you have in actual savings of any kind, retirement or otherwise, this $350 is it.
Exactly, yes.
Gotcha. Your home is paid for?
It is.
Good for you. So you don't even need the income off of this. You could live off of the other streams of income, couldn't you?
I could, but not as comfortably,
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay.
right?
All right. So I suspect that your decrease in what you would draw if you were drawing on 300 rather than on 350 would be less than the payments that you're going to pay off. So I would imagine you have a net gain.
Right.
So I'd pay it off today.
With the mutual funds?
Yes. That's going to
Really? 'Cause
reduce
my
your
finance-
income. It's going to reduce your income from the mutual fund, but it's also going to reduce your outgo for these two payments.
Exactly,
And
yes.
of course, your financial advisor said don't do this.
Yeah, he shook his head.
Of course
and
he
said,
did.
You know, he said the market is really volatile right now. To me,
Yeah,
it
it's
looks
way up.
Yes. And listen, when it's way down,
Yeah.
he's going to say it's really volatile. Just leave it to me. I'll take care of you.
Yeah, exactly. So
If you pull this money out and pay your debt off, he's going to make less money.
Let me tell you something else that's going to happen, Ann. That's really hard to believe.
okay.
You're going to feel physically different when you don't have any debt at all. It's so weird.
Yeah.
It's hard to describe to people. Some people, it's more dramatic than others. It just depends on how much of a worrier you are. The more of a worrier you are, the more you'll feel it. Because, you know, John always says your body keeps the score. You physically register the fact that you owe money.
And for the last 3 years,
Even though you can pay it off tomorrow.
you've been playing ping pong with the government on who's paying your loans back. You, them, you, them.
How do you have a student loan at 67?
Just pay it
What
off.
did you do?
Yeah.
What did you do? Did you go back to school like at 62?
Oh, well, it's my daughter's.
Oh, it's a Parent Plus.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Well, that makes more sense, sort of. But yeah, definitely. Yeah. If I woke up in your shoes, is the way I answer questions here, knowing what I know, and my net worth is greater than that of your financial advisor. And so, you know, there's a lot of ways we can measure expertise in this area if you want, but that's one of them. I'd pay that loans off today. and take a little bit smaller draw, but you would have a smaller outgo, and you'll still have approximately the same net cash flow in your budget, maybe a little bit better net cash flow in your budget from doing this. So it won't affect your life, except that you're not going to owe anybody, and you're done. And very few people become wealthy using borrowed money to do it. Most people become wealthy using cash flow. And so you're not adding to your wealth by holding these debts.
Dave, I'm going to start getting all worked up. That's the second caller today that has called and
in
said,
this hour,
that has a financial advisor doing something against their best interest of their client.
Yeah, there's two types of people, though, there, honestly, like there is in a lot of things. Number one, there's financial advisors that are straight up just doing it because they make more money. You know, just a straight up ethics issue as far as you and I are concerned, against their best interest. The second thing is they just honestly disagree. They would go borrow on a car to put money in mutual funds. They really believe that. Or they would go borrow on your house to put money in mutual funds. They really believe that. They're wrong, but they really believe it. And so my contention is you actually get screwed more often by enthusiastic ignoramuses than by con artists.
Absolutely, yeah.
There's more enthusiastic ignoramuses out there than there is con artists.
I've been one for a long time.
Yeah,
so.
I've been one.
Yeah.
I've never been a con artist.
Right.
I've never purposefully, with evil and malevolence, just taken, the idea I'm going to steal from somebody or I'm going to hurt somebody so that I get gain. I have never done that in my life, ever. Not a single time. But I have enthusiastically endorsed some absolutely ridiculous things.
Me too. Yep.
Not for the last 30 years. but prior to that, man, I got a PhD in stupid.
Yeah.
I can tell you story after story of stupid but stuff I've told people to do, helped them do it, encouraged them to do it, forcefully and passionately argued stupidity. I have done that. Oh my God, I've done that. When I wore a younger man's clothes. But yeah.
I don't know. It sounds a lot like when you convinced me to jump out of an airplane with you too.
You lived and you got a great story. No whining.
Great story.
No whining.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome.
And it was fun. Yeah. It was a lot of fun. We need to do it again. It's about time.
But I think this is awesome. I would do it tomorrow. You got me hooked. But I do think it's important for people to remember, if you've amassed wealth and you've done well for yourself and you've got somebody saying, hey, this is the right way. It reminds me of, there's a great documentary out where there's a bunch of grandmothers and they're sitting there talking about margarine. And they said, everyone told us that margarine was better for us than just pure butter. And they started trying to get this margarine out of the tubs with like a spatula. And they, to a person, said, we knew it in our bones. This wasn't right. But they told us, and so we just went with it, and it wasn't good. And so it's very similar. If your guts tell you this is wrong, let's do something else.
Which, by the way, margarine is colored lard.
Ugh.
Just in case you're wondering.
Go with go with it. With a side of chemicals. Yeah, eat butter.
This is why when you get real butter at a gourmet restaurant, your brain freaks out.
It lights up like a Christmas tree.
Because you've been eating colored lard. Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, that's the truth. We grew up on that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the things we were told, these preservatives keep the food from going bad.
They're so good for you.
But they destroy your body.
You grew up in the menthol tab margarine era. The golden era of American nutrition.
I grew up where every adult in my life could cuss the highway patrolman with a cigarette hanging out of their mouth and never leave their mouth. That's where I grew up. There's so much nicotine in the house, it was running down the walls. And smoking sections on the plane are my favorite memory.
Exactly.
Yeah. As if it wouldn't run its way down this hollow aluminum tube and the whole place fill up with smoke. As if the smoke would obey the little sign that said smoking section. They had them in restaurants. They had them in restaurants, too.
If only they'd had someone tell them to wear masks, they would have been much safer.
Who would think of that?
I don't know.
Fauci. Oh, who knew? That was before America got Fauci'd. Yeah. This is The Ramsey Show.
Hey, Hey, it's Dr. John Deloney. If you love the show and want a deeper dive on your money journey, we have a weekly newsletter that gives you trending and helpful articles and tips on following the Ramsey way. Just go to RamseySolutions.com today to sign up for our newsletter. Again, that's RamseySolutions.com to sign up for our weekly newsletter.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, it's the Ramsey Show, where we help people build wealth, do work that they love, and create actual amazing relationships. Thank you for joining us, America. I'm Dave Ramsey, George Camel, Ramsey personality, co-host of the Smart Money Happy Hour, and recently back from Chicago with all of us. We just finished up doing a Smart conference there. A lot of fun. And we appreciate you guys hanging out with us up there. We'll be letting you know when other things are happening around here that you can join into. Meantime, the phone number here is 888-825-5225. Kyle is in Boise, Idaho. Hi, Kyle. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave. Hey, George. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
So I've been a fan of the show for about 2 months. My wife got me hooked on the show. I've been listening ever since.
Thank you.
I just graduated from graduate school, got my degree in nurse anesthesia, so I'm a certified registered nurse anesthetist.
Yeah, wonderful field. So you got the new job yet?
I just got a new job. Still waiting.
What are you making, 300?
I'm starting at 220.
Yeah, very good. Good for you.
Awesome.
Proud of you.
So my debt, all I have as far as debt is my student loans, which is actually $220,000.
Wow.
Which was what it was to go through graduate school to do anesthesia. So my question is, I just, haven't been good at managing money. Fortunately, I'll have student loans, but I'm like, what do I do? Like, what's my next step in life? Do I get into a house? Do I, throw everything in my debt to get out of debt?
Yes.
What do I do from here?
You're going to keep living how you've been living. What's the most you were making the past few years?
So again, how much am I making?
How much did you make before this?
Oh, so before I started the anesthesia school, I was working as a nurse, and I was making about $22 an hour.
Yeah.
So can you keep living as if you're making $22 an hour and throw the rest of it at your debt?
Probably.
That's the hardest part. Because right now, you graduated, you get the big boy job. Everyone's going, dude, you're making the big bucks. How are you still driving that beater car?
It's not
Why don't you have a house yet?
It's not a question of can you. It's a question of will you.
Yeah, see, that's where so I'm married. I have 2 young children.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, you got all this money. My mother-in-law's like, you can afford that.
There's a lot of broke people now speaking in now that you hit the lottery.
I spoke to a financial advisor briefly, and she's like, oh, no, start saving for retirement and put money here, put money here. I'm like, I've almost got $250,000 in student loans. Like,
yeah, what does your wife make?
First? So she's, she went to school for interior design. She's staying home now with the kids. So we just have the one income.
Oh, okay. All right. So you make $220,000 a year. And if you were to live on $60,000, you would be debt-free in 18 months. And you have the rest of your life to make $250,000 to $300,000 a year with no payments in the world, and you will become very wealthy, and you have a different financial advisor, and then your relatives will be asking you what to do instead of telling you what to do with money, because you will not be a broke version of them.
Okay. The other aspect too is, I'm a 1099 contractor with a hospital, and that, is throwing me off too. I'm like, well, now I gotta pay all my own taxes and buy health insurance and all this other stuff.
You make $220,000 a year. Just set your taxes aside. Go buy some health insurance. And by the way, you can actually pick up overtime too.
Yeah,
you can work on the weekends in ER, can't you?
I can't actually, but I got, part of my contract gives me 10 weeks of vacation a year, which I could maybe use, to find employment on those weeks off.
Not maybe. You're $220,000 in debt. Absolutely.
So if you were in my position, throw everything at debt then?
So, yeah, that's what I've been saying for the last 5 minutes. The way I'm answering this is, if I were in your shoes, here's what I would be thinking, okay? As far as I'm concerned, here's what I think you did. Maybe you didn't, but I think you said, I'm a nurse. If I was in anesthesiology as a nurse, I could make 3 times more than I make now, or 4 times more than I make now, or even 5 times more than I make now. I'm going to go get this degree so that I can make a lot more money, so that I can have a lot more money at the end of the story and have a better life for my family during the story. Is that what you were thinking?
Yeah.
Then for God's sakes, go get rid of the debt so you can have a lot more money.
Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. And get a different financial advisor. This one's a goob.
And talk to him when you're ready. Right now, you don't need one. You just need Dave telling you.
You don't need to talk to that one ever
pay
again.
off your debt.
That one's not got us, stay in $220,000 worth. If you have a financial advisor that says stay in $220,000 worth of student loan debt, run out of their office like your hair is on fire. My God, that's just dumb.
But what do you think they're going to say? They want you to invest with them so they can put food on the table. They're not going to be helping you getting out of debt. That's what you call this show for.
Yeah, let's just do a little sidebar here for a second. Your financial advisor's job is not to tell you what to do. If they think it is, get you a different one. 85% of the people in the financial world, whether they're insurance or mortgage or brokers or planners or whatever, are salespeople. 15% of them are teachers. Now, I made that number up, but it's pretty close. You want one that has the heart of a teacher, not the heart of a salesman. You've got one, Kyle, that has the heart of a salesman. Do what I do because I have 3 letters after my name. Let me tell you, I got a whole bunch of freaking letters after my name, and one of them is a PhD in DUMB. So, which qualifies me infinitely more than them. Plus, I have all the degrees that they've got, most of them anyway. I don't have my CFP, my Certified Financial Pharisee. I don't have that one. But yeah. But anyway, yeah, it's not all of them are Pharisees. Some of them are really good folk. But anyway, you want a financial person, whoever it is, in any category, to have the heart of a teacher. Their job is not to tell you what to do. Their job is to teach you, and then you can decide what to do. And this stuff is not that complicated. You can do it.
Well, people call the show and they say, well, Dave, my financial advisor, they didn't make you do anything. You chose, and you didn't speak up. And so that's what we're wanting you to do here is get yourself educated. You make the decisions. But
Kyle, excellent career choice. Phenomenal. Go make a big pile of money for you and your family. And the first order of business is get this mess cleaned up. The second order of business is start to build some wealth. The third order of business is get your house paid off. This is what we want you to do for your sake. By the way, we didn't charge you anything for this, and we don't need anything from you. We just love you, and we want you to win. This is The Ramsey Show. George Camel, Ramsey Personality, is my co-host today. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Nick Murray published this essay in a financial planning periodical that I got a hold of this week. One of my buddies sent it to me in the business. It's very well done, and he's kind of snarky like you, George. That's why I like him.
I like just reading this article.
Yeah, The Persistent Illusion of Gold.
This is good.
Yeah. For the record, the subtitle of the Wall Street Journal piece is "Swings in Stocks and Bonds Have Boosted the Metal's Popularity with Ordinary Investments." The statistic at the heart of the article is the percentage of Americans who believe gold is the best long-term investment jumped to 26% this year from 15% in 2022, according to a Gallup report from May.
Wow.
In contrast, those preferring stocks dropped to 18% from 24% last year, while those favoring bonds climbed to 7% from 4%. This happens quite reliably every time there's a bear market in stocks. Ordinary investors are always recalibrating their preferences in the rearview mirror. Which is wrong. My major purpose in this little essay is to parse through the pathology which persists in the illusion not just that gold is an efficient inflation hedge, but that it's somehow preferable to holding a broadly diversified portfolio of high-quality common stocks like a mutual fund for the long term. First, let's get our terminology straight. Gold is not, in any accepted sense, an investment at all. That is, it does not produce anything. It just sits there. Gold's sole financial function is as an inflation hedge. The question then becomes, how's that working out? In August of 71, the price of gold was arbitrarily fixed at $35 an ounce. $35 an ounce. By January of 80, the last time ordinary investors went totally gaga over it, gold had reached $800 an ounce. Thus, if you bought an ounce of gold nearly 44 years ago at $800, you now own an ounce of gold that is, at this writing, worth $1,965. That's up about 2.5 times, having produced in the interim neither dividends nor interest nor anything else. It now becomes my painful duty to disclose to you that the Consumer Price Index in January of 80 stood at 78. In July of this year, it was 306, just shy of 4 times, which means that to have kept up with inflation, your $800 gold ounce would have to be valued at $3,200, but it isn't. It's at $1,900. Not even close. So not much of an inflation hedge. Wait, it gets worse. The Standard & Poor's 500 stock index, the end of January 80, was 115. As of right now, it's in the 4,490. And that's right, while the price of gold was rising 2.5 times, the S&P 500 went up 39 times. Not counting dividends, which at the risk of repeating oneself, gold does not pay. With reinvested dividends and assuming you paid taxes from another source, $800 invested in the S&P in January of 1980 left to compound would currently be worth $95,000, not $1,900. There's the difference in mutual funds and gold. Mic drop.
You can't even argue with that. I mean, the guy just laid it out so beautifully.
Boom. In your face. Boom. So I read somewhere that gold is actually a pretty effective inflation hedge over extremely long periods, perhaps a century or more. Not true either, by the way. If you go back and pull gold since the 1800s, it has an average annual of about 2.2%, where the S&P has an average annual of about 11.8%.
How is that an inflation hedge?
It's not. It's mythology. It's gold has the mysterious ability to make people look like idiots. It's mysterious. I mean, they say things that are just blatantly not factual and believe things that are blatantly not factual because it is a shiny rock. I do not understand. But I'll tell you what, from 1980 to today, you could put $800 in and you'd have $95,000, or you could put $800 in gold and you'd have $1,900.
Ouch. I don't know how anyone could just be doing the math on that going, well, Dave, I sleep better at night knowing I got gold in case the economy crashes.
No, and I got $1,900 instead of $95,000. I'll help you with your sleep.
We've played this game because we've played it out of what happens. Let's see, every company goes to zero. That's what would have to happen for the stock market to go to zero. Every company goes bankrupt. You have your gold bars.
If the stock market had grown from 800 to 1,900 since 1980, the American economy would have collapsed.
Yeah. Would
have collapsed. Because that would have meant that the typical company is losing money. That the average is that horrible. I mean, for the stock market to be that anemic, the economy would have to be that anemic, and it would just be, I mean, I don't know if our society would have survived if the stock market had done the same rates of return that gold had done. Wow. Think about that.
Yeah, that's wild.
I mean, you would have had to make nothing on your, I mean, geez. Like, yeah.
So these people are scared of the stock market. Hey, if this collapses, I'll have my gold bars, and it'll somehow keep its value in these dark times. But they've lost so much money, and it hasn't even kept up with inflation, that I'm going, I'll be way better off than you, just haven't been the tortoise over here investing in the stock market for 30, 40 years.
Yeah. Well, it's about as dumb as the guy called me up and said, I got $400,000. I buried it in coffee cans in my backyard.
That's an inflation hedge, Dave.
No, it's paper money and buried in the ground. This is not going to go well, buddy. We're talking insects. We're talking dampness. We're talking, I sealed the car. I don't care.
Well, even if the money
buried it in the ground. Do you not know those things rust? And now, what happens when you die? Your hillbilly relatives are out there with their metal detectors?
I would make that a reality show. I'd watch that on HGTV.
That's about as dumb.
Wow.
Well,
and your $40,000 40 years later, having sit in the ground, ain't worth $40,000.
Oh, it's $400,000. Oh
my gosh!
So I told him, you're losing $40,000 a year. It'd been 10 years. I said, you've lost $400,000. What do you mean? I didn't lose it. I know where it is. No, you lost what you could have made another $400,000 in 10 years on this.
Millions.
And meanwhile, it's sitting back there doing absolutely nothing. Your 800 could have become 95, but you put it in gold and it became 95,000, and you put it in gold, it became 1,900.
Ugh.
Nick, you did a good job with this article. I don't know you personally. I hope we get to meet someday, but your analysis and your critical thinking skills are dead on. It is not proper to say that gold or any other commodity is an investment. It is a speculation, but it's not an investment.
It reminds me of crypto.
Investments have an income that they produce. They have something going along with them. Even real estate, when you buy it and it doesn't have an income associated with it, all you're looking for is the increase in value. Now you're speculating rather than investing. That speculators lose money. Investors make money.
Well, over the years as you've been doing this, Dave, most people are drawn to this out of fear, which is usually not a great reason to do anything financially. Fear or greed.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's not. I mean, right after I get afraid, I get stupid because I'm in freak out mode and my critical thinking skills shut down. I'm in the middle of a trauma experience.
Well, and usually I saw a headline of some guy yelling at them, "Go buy gold. It's all coming down, guys. Go buy gold and silver. You'll be okay." And it doesn't work out like that. Yeah. And if all goes down, we're not going to be looking for gold. I'm not going to be looking to trade Dave Ramsey for gold. I need food, bullets, shelter, water, ammo.
Yep. Bullets and ammo, both.
Both of those. Well, Dave.
You're loading up over here, George.
I'm going to Dave's compound if it all goes down, so I'm okay. You guys fend for yourselves.
Yeah. So Nick Murray, that did this essay, is quoting from the August 7th online edition of the Wall Street Journal. The article that he was picking apart was titled, "When Markets Get Scary, Mom and Pop Buy Gold." So not mom and pop that want to be wealthy. If you want to build wealth, typically what we find is people buy real estate and they buy mutual funds. And they pay cash for their real estate, no debt. These are the typical paths that we find among millionaires. We don't find millionaires that say, I got rich buying gold. And now we know why, because 800 in 1980 turned into 1900 today. And what is that, 50 years, 40 years later, 45 years later? Wow. In 45 years, you doubled your money barely. Well, don't dance in the street over that. This is The Ramsey Show. George Camel, Ramsey personality, co-host of Smart Money Happy Hour on the Ramsey Network's podcast. Fabulously popular, along with his blasting off new YouTube channel, George Camel with a K. Look it up. He's my co-host today. George is also going to be working with the Every Dollar team and hosting a free live virtual training on budgeting tomorrow, September 19th at 11:30 in the morning Central Time. George, this is going to be good.
I love it. And what I love to do is show people what the budget can do for you, how it can create that margin so that you can hit those goals, get out of debt. And we're going to walk you through it using our tool, and it's going to be a good time. So join us, everydollar.com/budgeting to sign up. It's completely free.
Yeah, here's the deal. John Maxwell says that a budget is people telling their money what to do instead of wondering where it went. Give every dollar a name is what we say. Every dollar an assignment. That's how we named the world's best budgeting app, Every Dollar. It's completely free for this training. It's a Zoom not a Zoom training. It's a webinar that George is doing. Free live virtual training. George Camel, 11:30 a.m., September 19th, tomorrow for most of you. Check it out, everydollar.com/budgeting. We'll be doing a few more of these, too, so be watching that particular site, and it'll tell you what's going on. Dennis and Shelby are in the lobby of Ramsey Solutions on the debt-free stage. Hey, guys, welcome.
Thank you.
Where are you guys from?
Washington State.
All right. Welcome.
Tacoma, specifically.
Tacoma. Good. Welcome to Nashville. How much debt have you paid?
$325,000.
All right. And how long did that take?
7 years.
7 years. Good. And your range of income during that time?
Starting at $100,000 together, and then it dropped because of COVID to about 75. It has come back up to about 85. But now we're both retired.
Oh, wow. Very good. Yeah. What were your careers?
Go ahead.
I work with a armored car company.
Okay.
Yeah.
She counts about $300,000 a day.
Okay. All right.
I have been driving, and
what was your career before you retired?
My career before I retired was post office. Worked at post office.
Oh, great. Okay, very cool. Good for y'all. So $325 over 7 years. I'm guessing this is the house.
That's right.
Yes. You paid off your house.
Yes.
And a car.
Weird people. I love it.
Yeah.
Completely 100% debt free.
That's right.
Completely.
How long have you all been married?
7 years.
Oh, wow. Okay, so 7 years ago is when this started. So we get married, we go, okay, knocking out the car and knocking out the house. Tell us the story. What happened?
I was debt-free prior to this, but when I met my wife, I said, are you willing to go to Financial Peace University? And she said,
absolutely.
Wow. So we both went, and she got on board with me. And 2 months after we were married, I said, why don't we see if we can pay off your credit card? She said.
I said, okay.
And so in her little savings account of $5, you got to start somewhere, right? $5. And I said, if we pay off your credit card, I want you to make sure to put the interest that you would have been sending to them in the bank and watch it grow. So after about 2 months, she saw it grow. And then we did the same thing with her car.
Wow. Very good.
You're a great coach. You got her excited and motivated about this.
Not only that, but she excited me because every month she says, we got a bill. Let's get it paid. So we just paid it.
Well, and the fact that you were so willing, Shelby, is amazing.
Yeah. Honestly, I wish I had done this in my 20s. It's just so relieving. Yeah.
Now you don't have a payment in the world. House or anything.
That's
How does that feel?
It's amazing.
Now we can give more, too.
And yes, giving has just become such a joy.
Yeah.
Wow.
So was this a carrot you dangled to say, hey, we're going to retire once the house is paid off? How did that work?
Basically, my goal was to make sure the house was paid off before I retired. And we got that done in April.
Wow.
And then you just call it. Yeah, good for y'all.
Yeah. Yep.
Well done. Very well done. All right, now that you have done it, house and everything. Okay, wait a minute. How old are y'all?
65.
And I'm 69.
Okay. And so you started this at 62 and 58?
Yes.
That's right.
Okay. So any of you listening, is it too late, Dave? Nope, not too late. Dennis and Shelby did it, and they got a really bright future financially. I mean, you can do anything you want to do now. So what do you tell people the key to getting out of debt is?
Go ahead.
Just use the snowball effect is the first thing that is the best way. All the tools that you taught us, the envelopes, staying at home, not eating out, just need versus want, everything.
Eating out is the most detrimental thing you can do to your budget, in my estimation.
Yeah.
we don't eat out, and this trip has been horrible because we've had to eat out every day.
Oh, darn.
It's not her cooking.
Well, I'll go along with that. Okay. I'm going home to dinner tonight, and it'll be Sharon cooking, so there you go.
So what's the house worth?
What is our house worth?
Yeah.
Pushing $850,000.
Wow. So you guys are probably, with investments and everything, millionaires then.
Yes, we are.
Baby steps millionaires.
That's right.
Way to go.
You got it.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
Yep.
7 years. I like it. What a great plan, you guys. What a great plan. Who was cheering you on as you're doing all this?
I was cheering her on. She was cheering me on. I don't know that we had anybody else that's really on board, part of the family or anything. So, yeah, actually listening to your show and you guys are cheering us on every day.
Wow.
The surprising thing is that we told everybody what you taught us.
Wow.
Everybody that would listen.
And what did they say?
They were, they're always a little skeptical, but we're trying to get our kids to do it, everything.
Yeah.
They'll get on board eventually.
I like it.
Yeah.
Good
when the
for you
student
guys.
is ready, the teacher appears.
Hey,
and you'll be there.
I just praise God for the opportunity.
All right. Way to go, guys. We're proud of you. Very good. Way to go, hero. Millionaires and retired 7 years after being married, in your 60s, paid for house and everything. This is what it's about. Well done. You have set yourself up to enjoy this. Well done.
Thank you.
We've got the Live and Give box for you to celebrate you being here. That's the Baby Steps Millionaires book, the Total Money Makeover book, and a Financial Peace University membership. You can use those or give them away. Your choice, whatever you want to do. They're for you to live or you to give, whatever you want to do. People buy that box all the time just for that, to use some of it and give some of it. So, very cool. Congratulations, you two.
Thank you.
Woo-hoo-hoo. I love it.
I love it.
Dennis and Shelby, Tacoma, Washington, $325,000 paid off. House and everything.
Yippee.
They did that in 7 years. 7 years after they got married, in their 60s. We had 58. Plus 7 is where we are today. 100,000 down to 75, down to 85 after retirement. Setting pretty for the rest of their lives. Excellent, excellent work. All right, Dennis and Shelby, Tacoma, Washington. Count it down. Let's hear a debt-free scream.
3, 2, 1.
We're debt-free!
Yeah! Love it! Whoop, 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 whoop. Way to go, you guys. Way to go. Man. We get the 22-year-olds in here, but getting the 65 and 67-year-old in here with a paid-for house, doing it in the last 7 years is very impressive.
That's just as rewarding. It's such a great reminder.
And it's not one we see that often, but it's just proof it can be done.
Yeah. People in their 40s, 50s, 60s, they went, Dave, I made my mistakes. It's too late for me, but maybe my kids can do better. And they went, well, it's not too late.
They're like, hold my beer. No, I got this. I can do it.
Retire with dignity. If we just sacrifice for 7 years and we're going to have a great next 20, 30 years of retirement, I'll take that.
Yeah. Well, they set up this next chapter of their lives from 58 on, from 62, or from 60 years, or 62 on. You say 69 or 67? I got confused. But either way.
Yep, 69.
Yeah. So, 62 and 58 starting point.
Wow.
And you go, okay, we're gonna lean into this. Both of them are in agreement. And you could just see they are in sync. Well, you guys are listening and not watching. You didn't see it, but you can see in their body language that they're in sync. They're in agreement.
Oh, it's such a joy and peace. I don't know if there's been a study done, but I wonder if you did a study on those who retire with no debt, do they live longer? Do they have a higher quality of life? My gut says yes. When you see that kind of peace.
Now, stress registers in your body. I mean, financial stress, it has to, it has to have a medical effect.
And just their optimism.
Yeah.
They're hopeful.
I've never seen the study, but maybe we ought to commission one.
There's an idea.
There we go. Be like the millionaire study, make everybody mad. This is the Ramsey Show. Our scripture of the day, Proverbs 14:15. The simple believe anything, but the prudent give thought to their steps. Jack Canfield said, I believe that people make their own luck by great preparation and good strategy. Austin is in Charleston, West Virginia. Hi, Austin. Welcome to the Ramsey Show.
Hey, Dave. Thanks for having me.
Sure.
Recently, my father passed away, and left me $400,000, and I don't know what in the world to do with it. And I don't want to bury it in the backyard and wait for inflation.
I hear you. I'm sorry. What happened to him?
It was uncurable illness.
I'm sorry. How old was he?
In his 50s.
My goodness. How old are you?
I'm 29.
Okay. All right.
How long ago was this?
11 months.
Okay. Wow, $400,000. Well, we always follow a process around here because we truly have proven that it's the shortest right way to become wealthy. The process we use is called the baby steps. And so we would take the $400,000 and begin to work up through those. What personal debts do you have, not counting your house?
No debts. Me and my wife both have no student debts. We both own our vehicles.
Okay. Do you own a home?
Yes, we own a home.
Does it have a mortgage?
We do. $220,000 left on the mortgage.
Okay.
But this is where I'm kind of in a pickle with maybe that decision of paying it towards the house. Is we have a kind of a crazy rate for a mortgage, and it's 2.3%. And I'm curious, or maybe the thought of, would that money be better invested and make more money than the money I would lose on paying it down on the house?
Yeah. Well, the number, when we studied 10,000 millionaires, the number of them that borrowed on their home in order to invest the money and make the spread in order to become wealthy, the number of them that did that was well less than 5%. 95% did not follow that path. That's real millionaires, not somebody with a theory on TikTok.
Yeah. And between myself, I make $200,000 a year sitting at home coding, and my wife is a pharmacist, but she's currently being a stay-at-home mom with our newborn. Mm-hmm. So I know there's money to come down the line. So,
I'm sorry, what does that mean? What does that mean?
Well, I know we're not going to be made. We have the potential to make a lot of money whenever she starts working again.
Oh, I see. I see. So your income, when she re-engages her career, your income's going to be crazy. Yeah, I got you.
Yes.
Yeah, it's great now. It's great now, but it'll be crazy then. Yeah. So what would Dave and Sharon Ramsey do? What would George and Whitney Camel do? We would pay off your house today. We would invest the house payment plus $1,000 a month in a separate mutual fund, just so you can see how fast paid off house becomes $1 million. Okay. If I did that when I paid mine off, I wanted to see how quick it happened. It was blindingly fast. I took my old house payment and added a little bit to it and rounded it up, and it was like $2,500 or something. How fast that money alone became that house payment became $1 million is crazy. And then of course you got, in addition to that, you got another $180,000 or so that you can invest, and with no house payment at all, and your house payment plus some being invested, dude. You're going to be in great shape.
The truth is the spread is just not worth an ounce of your brain calorie. You have an incredible income. You're about to be completely debt-free. If you even invest 20%, 25% of your income for the rest of your life, you're going to be multi-millionaires.
Yeah.
With freedom in the meantime, with no mortgage payment.
So what's your house worth?
Since we purchased it, it is now worth $330,000.
Okay. All right, and so basically you got $400,000 with a paid-for house and with $180,000 in the account, okay? And you're 29, so at 36 that'll be worth $800. At 43 that'll be worth 1.6. This is if you add nothing to it. At 50, it'll be worth 3.2. At 57, it'll be worth 6.4. And at 64, it'll be worth $12.8 million. That's what $400,000 will be worth. It'll double about every 7 years if it's invested, making around 10% or so. And you've got it in real estate, and you've got it in good mutual funds. That's where you should be. So if you don't do anything right after this, as long as you avoid debt and not even invest more, you're going to end up with $10 million at retirement.
Jeez.
Yeah. That's how smart this is. And during all of that, you have zero financial stress.
Yeah. That's what, even before getting this money, my wife and I were following your steps, and we started with building that emergency fund. Once that was done,
you're on the track then, yeah.
Like that. Yeah, so both of us have Roth IRAs and 401ks, and our emergency fund is beautiful. And
I didn't even count that. I didn't know you had that.
But everything is going great, and with our new son, that's another thing. Should I do anything with that money for my son? I know
you're building wealth. Your dad did. Your dad did something for his son. He left him $400,000.
That's very true.
It doesn't have to be in your name.
I hate to go back to advisors, but they always say start like a college fund, the 529.
Yeah,
but
that's fine.
Nowadays college is getting more expensive, and nowadays you don't need a college degree to actually make money. So
yeah, you didn't in your world, but yeah.
Better?
But yeah, I would have some money set aside for. I would start putting some money into a 529. You don't have to overfund it because you're going to have such a pile of money. You're going to be able to just write a check when they go to school. But having some of it in a 529 is not a bad thing. And education is not a bad thing. Knowledge is a good thing. It's when you do it knowledge in a stupid way that it's a bad thing. When you pay for the famous school or you pay for a useless degree. Or you think a degree is what makes you successful. Knowledge is what makes you successful. Knowledge is the currency, and that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, these kids are going to school debt-free. And if you have a paid-for house and you're making $200 plus, they're going to be okay. You could cash flow the difference if they don't have enough in their college account. And so that's the value of following these principles. Yeah. You're not even worried. If your wife wants to stay at home forever, you don't even blink. You go, we don't have a payment.
Yeah.
Go for it.
But, I mean, if you guys are making $350 and you continue to invest and you do what we just talked about and you stay out of debt and you live reasonably and generously, you should have between $10 and $20 million at 65 years old. I mean, there's no reason you shouldn't have.
Yeah, the trick is
and if I'm
not
half wrong, shut up.
Still a good life.
Oh, my gosh. Really? And we will credit your dad with a lot of that because that $400,000 mathematical jumpstart, yeah, you will be one of the few millionaires that became a millionaire because of inheritance.
Mm.
Yeah. You're probably almost there now. But yeah, that's okay. I don't care where the money came from. I care how you use it and what your next steps are. That's the whole thing.
The hardest part is ignoring all of his friends, family, advisors who are going to tell him to do something insane.
And stay off social media.
And TikTok.
Yeah. I mean, we're on TikTok just because we got disgusted with how bad it is over there.
I'm trying to displace the filth.
We wanted to put something good out there. Yeah, George is displacing the toxicity, the nuclear waste.
I'm only one man, but I'm a lot of man, Dave. That's what I'm told.
You are a serious TikToker.
Dave couldn't even hold a straight face while I said I'm a lot of man.
I'm thinking about anybody on TikTok saying that. That's what I'm thinking about.
That's fair. It's hard to call yourself a TikToker and also say I'm a lot of man.
Yeah, those things don't go in the same sentence. I'm just saying. There's so many places I can go.
That's one way to end a show.
Just not going to. That puts this hour of the Ramsey Show in the books. We'll be back with you before you know it. In the meantime, remember, there's ultimately only one way to financial peace, and that's to walk daily with the Prince of Peace, Christ Jesus.
Hey, it's George Camel. If you like what you heard in this episode and want to know more about getting started on the Ramsey baby steps, go to RamseySolutions.com and click on the Get Started button. We'll help you figure out the best next step for you based on your specific situation. That's RamseySolutions.com and click Get Started.